Hi, and welcome to the technical module of this course. This first lesson will be about understanding the main components of computer hardware. This is going to build the foundations of our knowledge in IT, and we'll be covering the different components of a computer, their functions, and a few considerations when choosing them for system development. So let's get started. The first main component of a computer is simply the computer case. This is a secure enclosure that houses the sensitive internal computer components. You see on the right there we have a typical desktop computer case. Every computing device technically has a computer case as well, whether that's a laptop or a smartphone or an Internet of Things device like something in your car or in your fridge, for example. But those ones are particular to the device in question. Desktop computer cases are very standardized, so we can build custom systems onto them. The next main component of a computer is called the motherboard. This is the main circuit board that connects all the hardware of a computer and allows it to communicate to each other. Now, when it comes to desktop computers, we have some standardized sizes of motherboards. Examples of those are ATX, Micro ATX, Mini ITX, and there are a few others. When it comes to laptops and smartphones and other devices, those motherboards are going to be particular to the device itself. The names of these, and I'm going to be repeating this a few times in the rest of the course, are not something that we necessarily have to memorize, but something that we should keep in mind to gain a fundamental understanding of the devices in question. The next main component of a computer is the central processing unit, or the CPU. We can think of this as like the brain of a computer. It executes the instructions that programs instruct it to do, and this is what allows for all the computing tasks that we do. There are two main ways that we differentiate the speed of a processor, and the first would be its clock speed, which we measure in gigahertz, or GHz as we see there. Now, giga stands for 1 billion, and hertz stands for cycle. So 1 gigahertz would be 1 billion cycles. Clock speed can go these days in modern processors from 1 up to 5 gigahertz, and typically the higher the speed, that means the higher the CPU quality. The other way that we can tell the speed of a CPU is the amount of cores that it has. Nowadays in modern devices they start at about 2 cores, and you'll see them going up to 24 and even beyond in more expensive, high quality computing devices. The other thing to keep in mind about CPUs is that they are built on different architectures. These are the ways that it processes the programming instructions from the programming that's running on the CPU. There is 32-bit and 64-bit, x86, x64, and ARM. Now, it's not important to know too much about this in depth. It's simply important to know that these are not really interchangeable with each other. So if you have a program that is written for one kind of architecture, it's not going to run on another kind of architecture for a CPU. There are softwares that can translate between them, but that's typically going to slow down what the processor is doing. Another thing to note is that x86 processors and x64 processors typically run on Windows and Linux systems, and that's something, an operating system that we'll be talking about in the next lesson, and ARM runs on Macintosh devices and smartphone devices these days.